Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Secret Base figure preview video. Before we get started, I want to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for going out in person to snap these awesome high-res pictures. Show Ryan some love in the comments below. That baby looks incredibly creepy, because without him, this series literally would not be possible. Now, if you're looking to pre-order all of the Fantastic Four or only one of them, I've popped some links to Pop Collectibles in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're pre-ordering Hot Toys from Pop, you can either pay the full amount right up front or leave a deposit and fix up the balance when the piece, or in this case pieces, release. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button so you're notified as soon as brand new Fantastic Four content goes live. Okay, we can all breathe a sigh of relief. They've announced Johnny. They've announced all four of the Fantastic Four. I don't know why it took them so long, but they've done it. The Human Torch is now up for pre-order along with everyone else. These figures were AWOL for the longest time. They announced them around the time of ACGHK, but then they didn't bring Reed or Sue to the convention, only Galactus and Ben. Now, because they've announced Johnny, all four of them on display at Secret Base, however, minus their accessories. So we can talk about them in passing, but we don't really get to look at them, which is frustrating. I would have liked to have been able to discuss them with you all, but we will try our best. Johnny, he's the one that was most recently announced, but let's start with Reed, Mr. Fantastic, Herbie. He's on this articulated flight stand. He himself has some articulation, and I love the depth for the front of Herbie's face. It would have been cool to get the switch out like face tape thing so you can switch between home and space, but might have been too fiddly for them to do that in 1/6 scale. And the Herbie sticker on the front, I don't want that to be a sticker. Hot Toys, you can see the edge. Just tampo print that on the surface. Could be that this is just a prototype and that's why it looks like that, but if they're planning on doing it for the final release as well, plan not to. Hot Toys, don't even think about it. The articulation for Herbie, you've got arms, then elbows, and it looks like maybe fingers for the pincers. For the head, multiple ball joints, so you can get expressive with Herbie. You get multiple different ways of picking up Herbie depending on the versions you get of the Fantastic Four. Reed's switch out bits for the legs and the torso, you could technically make yourself an entirely separate Reed from the fully articulated figure. It's just that he only comes with one head sculpt. Why did they not include two head sculpts? It would mean that people could display both options. Now that I think about it, I know why they didn't give us two head sculpts. They want you to buy two of these. A deluxe one and a standard one, so that you can display the stretchy version of Reed with a head sculpt and the articulated version with a sculpt as well. Very clever. Annoying for us, but very clever for them. The outfits, all stretchy spandex. And that stitching isn't stitching at all. It's printed. It's simulated stitching. They've screen printed it on the surface. That is genius, because you can never get stitching to be actual 1/6 scale stitching. You can try your best, but needles are only so small. Thread is only so thin. You can see that for the fly. The stitching is bulkier and bigger versus the faux simulated stuff on the rest of the trousers. All of the little silver doohickeys dotted around the place, they add so much visual interest. Is the off-white color accurate for the belt and the gloves? Let me know if you know down in the comments. I thought it was more of a stark white everywhere. It could be that the paint on the prototype is yellowing depending on where they displayed it. Who knows? But I would prefer a stark white so it's more of a cohesive look. The body is brand new for Reed. It has to be, because you can split the torso and the legs. Plug in the sculpted stretchy torso, connect the longer legs to the articulated torso, just mix and match, have fun with it. Split cut design for the gloves there, sculpted plastic, there's some leather grain texture, plenty of wrinkling, the gloves look great, except for that off-white strap. Bit weird. Now, will the texture and finish of the sculpted pieces match the fabric bits that they're going to be sitting right next to when you've got them connected to the articulated torso or legs? I wish I could answer that question, but once again, they did not put those bits on display. This head sculpt, my second favorite of the 4 head sculpts we're about to discuss in this video. My number 1 favorite, The Thing. This comes in a close second, not because it doesn't look like Pedro, it does. The likeness is there, that looks like him. I think their Joel head sculpt captured Pedro better than this. Not a bad head sculpt, do not hear what I'm not saying, but it's the smirk, maybe the pursed lips look, the slightly squinted eyes, something is throwing off the likeness. Do you all agree with me? Please let me know in the comments. Is this Pedro head sculpt a 10? Am I just being picky? Or is the Joel one just that much better? I would have been okay with them reusing the Joel sculpt, just changing the hair and modifying the paint applications, adding the beard and whatnot. But the detail is still immaculate. I mean, that angle right there in particular screams Pedro. Look at the forehead vein and the wrinkling, the crow's feet, the sculpt work, the line work on the lips is outstanding. It is a split cut neck head sculpt, so there is a seam underneath the ear, but from most angles, from front on, you are never going to see that. Will there be articulation at the base of the neck? That could be a thing, or they might have gone seamless because the defined traps on this body, that's not something they usually do. Most of the time, Hot Toys figures are lacking traps. Mr. Fantastic looks like he has been hitting the gym. Proportions are solid on this piece. But the next figure, I don't have as many positive things to say about it. The body is fine, except for maybe the really small feet and the quite long legs. We'll come back to that. Baby Franklin looks so creepy. Why are the eyes so large? Like they're really wide open. He's got this dead-eyed stare thing going on. Having had my own baby about 2 years ago, babies aren't that creepy. Like sometimes they can be, of course. But this is like uncanny valley levels of baby creepy. They always struggle with 1/6 scale babies and also animals for some reason. Anything that's not a fully articulated figure, they don't nail. And also the seams on Franklin for the arms and the legs, not appealing to look at. I think they need to go back to the drawing boards with Franklin. And maybe Invisible Woman's head sculpt. But we'll get there. Also, the cradle, you can swap out the top cover piece, so you can hide Franklin entirely. The bases all match, white bottom with the blue text for the nameplate, and the lighter blue edge around the perimeter of the top platform with the individual logos on the top textured surface. The boots, they're not split cut. That's okay, don't freak out. They've been doing PVC plastic boots, so I am expecting articulation. And I love the vibrant blue soles, the high heels. But her legs, they're really skinny where they plug into the boots, like almost unnaturally skinny. And the outfit, it hugs the body so well that you see all of the issues with the proportions. You can't hide it. It's not a baggy outfit. There's no wrinkles to hide that stuff with. It's smooth, it's form-fitting, so they need to try and work on the proportions to get them to be as realistic as possible. She looks so unnatural. Just standing there. Could be the pose. You might be able to pose it away, but that doesn't look like Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman in this outfit to me. They've also done the faux stitching for Invisible Woman's outfit, and the yellowing, or the cream-colored accents, they're not as yellow for Invisible Woman, which leads me to believe maybe they shouldn't be yellow at all. So it could be the paint that they've used. I'm curious about the ribbing. The collar looks screen printed, those rectangles that make up what would be the sweater-like collar, that's just screen printing. But for the rest of the outfit, it comes across as though there's something underneath the outer layer of fabric that's giving it that ribbed look. How did they do that in 1/6 scale? I've never seen them do that before. At least I can't think of an example off the top of my head. If you can, let me know down in the comments. But it's impressive how they've captured that sweater look with a single piece of fabric without just screen printing everything on the surface. I'm okay with the white bits, but for the blue, it needed to be stretchy spandex, and luckily it is. These are figures you will be able to leave in dynamic poses. I wish there was something on the watch screen that said alert, but it's just a blank screen. This head sculpt simply ain't it. It might be my least favorite of the four just because likeness ain't there. That is not Vanessa Kirby to me. Something about the eyes, maybe. If you cover up the eyes, then the likeness comes through a bit. But as soon as you take your hand away, then the likeness is gone. Also, the hair is too yellow. It's not platinum blonde enough. And that's something that we will need to discuss with Johnny. For some reason, both Johnny and Sue, they didn't dial in the likenesses. I'm not trying to say that this is their way around likeness rights by making the figures not really look like the actors, because that is not something that should ever happen, but it almost feels like that's the case. Will they refine this head sculpt? I hope so, because usually when we see prototypes and then they go through to final production, there's a worsening in quality with Hot Toys, like a 5 to 10% drop. This is already not screaming Vanessa Kirby to me, so we can't afford any drops. We need an improvement, if anything. Then again, I could be the only one who doesn't like this head sculpt. You may love it, for all I know. Scaling wise, she is shorter than Mr. Fantastic, but then moving on to the Thing. Yes, we've already done a figure preview video on the Thing. He was on display at ACGHK. He's back here at Secret Base. Let's talk about him quickly before we move on to Johnny. Having seen the movie a few more times since ACGHK when we last spoke about the Thing, this design for the pants, how it bleeds into the boots, is movie accurate. I thought this was something that Hot Toys just came up with to engineer ankle articulation for the Thing, make it look like boots, but no. This is the design from the movie. The pants actually do continue down, then the boots, that black bit is where they sit over the top of the white sections for the pants. Not a huge fan of the visible knees through the pants. There's this big ugly shelf. They could round that off. Then you wouldn't see that line sticking through the pants up front. And because it's a stretchy spandex material, you'll see all of it underneath the trousers. The belt, sculpted plastic piece. Pretty much no yellowing here, so yeah, jury's still out. There's this grayish accent color. We've got the 4 up front and Fantastic Four logos on the sides of his legs. That is not something I noticed in the movie. I now need to go back, rewatch it, and check that, because he's got a lot of Fantastic Four logos on him. One on either side of the legs, then on the belt, also on the shirt, if you have him wearing the shirt, because it is removable. I wish they had him on display here at Secret Base without the shirt on, because it would have been nice to see all of that sculpt work for the craggly rockwork skin that is currently being hidden by the shirt. What do you all think? Have everyone matching, including the Thing with his shirt on, or go more classic and display him without it? I'm divided, because the classic look, we also see him in the movie pulling that boat without his shirt on, so it is a movie accurate display option, but for the rest of the film, he's got the shirt on and everyone else has their complete Fantastic Four uniforms on. I like how cohesive everything looks with him matching, but then again, all of that sculpt and paint being hidden by a big mass of blue with some white on it, what's more exciting to look at? probably the thing without the shirt, if I had to guess. And he's got his watch on the cuff, the sleeve there for the shirt. There's some padding. You can see it right there around the cuff so that the shirt looks smoother on the thing. If there wasn't padding, that thicker layer underneath the fabric, then you'd see all of the jagged rock work. That is a clever solution that I didn't even think of. He looks big, but he's big anyway. So adding that padding doesn't take away from the look. If anything, it adds to it. This head sculpt, moving eyes. You get the beard head sculpt as well. So there's two head sculpts for Ben. This is beautiful. Does he look sad? Yeah, a little. His mouth being downturned like that, the sculpt of his eyebrow being a little bit pointed down towards the middle. Sad works for me, for Ben. And if you want something different, just go for the beard head sculpt. But the rocks, look at the fidelity of the rough texture on those rocks. Insane. That is why this is my favorite head sculpt of the four. It is just too good. And the color, that vibrant orange contrasting against the white and the blue for the outfit. He is a feast for the eyes. He's a big piece in terms of width, not so much when it comes to height. He's the tallest of the four, but he's also displayable. That's another bonus with him. He's not Hulk big, so he's not going to take up your entire shelf, your entire area that you had dedicated to the Fantastic Four just for the thing. He's more of a space-conscious thing, if that makes sense. Johnny. We waited a while for this. Why? Because the head sculpt ain't it. The proportions certainly ain't it. What is going on with Johnny's body? He was not this big in the movie. He looks doughy. It could be the outfit, but he flares out above the belt. He really shouldn't. The legs look too full to me. He was pretty toned in the movie, but he was not this large. They could be reusing his body from someone else. I don't know. Folks are complaining that we're not getting a flame on Human Torch. How would they do that? We get this flame accessory you can put on him. How's that going to work on the display base? Unsure, because it's not here. But I would much rather a fully suited version of Johnny with some flame accessories versus a translucent, plastic, visible, jointed version of him. If that's the only way to do it. Could they do medical silicon? Maybe. Am I hoping for a Shala Bal in medical silicon? Of course. Silver Surfer. Has to happen. But this, I think, is the best and cleanest way of doing Johnny, especially so that he can blend in with the rest of the team. Imagine having a bright red Human Torch. Yes, I know, comic book accurate. It would still look good. But next to the blue outfits for everyone else. The stitching with the screen printing effect, also the off-white on the belt. I'm just going to call it. The off-white is supposed to be there. The little silver accoutrement on the belt. There's a blue line up front. It looks like everyone's wearing the exact same thing, but there's subtle differences between all of their outfits. Enough for them to look cohesive, but also individual. The ribbing, there's a lot more of it on Johnny's outfit. That could be what is making him look too bulky. But I don't know yet. Is there time for them to tweak proportions? Of course. Heaps of time for them to do that. These Fantastic Four figures need a little bit of work, but I don't know that they're going to put in that work. Because they're probably going to appear in more movies in the future with different and maybe even better looks, so why would Hot Toys go back and spend more time on these when they could get them out, move on to the next iterations of these characters that might arguably be the more iconic versions depending on the movies that they appear in? That's a pretty cynical way of looking at it, but we gotta be real when it comes to this sort of stuff. The translucent, flame effects, they do exactly what they need to. This one is my favorite because you can see the hand being turned into a flame hand. Like you can make out the fingers, and you still got the little wispy licks of flame coming off the main sculpt work. It's just translucent enough that you can see his sleeve underneath it. Quite a convincing effect. the head sculpt. They let our boy down. What is that hair? Why is it piss yellow? It's the wrong color. It needed to be a lot lighter, a lot finer. And the likeness, he looks too old. Way too old. That does not scream Joseph Quinn to me. It's got moving eyes. That is the only positive thing I can say about this head sculpt. Why not, Hot Toys, if you cannot nail the likeness, just do a flame on head sculpt? Would upset some people. And yes, I said all of that stuff about flame on Johnny a second ago, but at least chuck that in so that you can have a different option for the sculpt. But no matter what happens, this head sculpt needs work, a lot of work. It looked okay in the promo pictures, but the gold hair color is wrong, the likeness isn't there, he looks too old. Multiple issues with this sculpt overall. So at the end of this video, yes, I'm disappointed with some things about the MCU's version of the Fantastic Four in 1/6 scale. I was hoping they would be home runs. Mr. Fantastic and Thing are great, but Invisible Woman and Johnny, they both need work. So Hot Toys, put in that work. If you're looking to pre-order one or all of the Fantastic Four, I've popped links to Pop Collectibles in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down that way, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.